Have you ever, felt that quiet longing for a deeper meaning in your daily life? Or maybe found yourself wondering if there's some simple, universal secret to living a long, truly happy, and, well, wonderfully fulfilled existence? In our busy world, it's so easy to get swept up, but that question, that search for purpose, it often lingers, doesn't it? Well, today on The Deep Dive, we're taking a really fascinating journey into a concept that offers a powerful answer. Ikigai. This isn't just a word, it's a profound philosophy, and our exploration today is rooted in the incredibly inspiring book, Ikigai-The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Héctor García and Francesc Miralles.
That's right. And the authors, they really distill Ikigai down to something quite beautiful. Essentially, it translates to a reason to live, or as they put it, the joy of always being busy with purpose.
Yeah.
It's really about finding that internal drive, the thing that makes your daily activities feel less like chores and more like contributions to your overall sense of meaning.
Right. And our mission today for you listening is to unpack what Ikigai truly is, maybe understand its rich origins a bit better, and then, most importantly, discover some practical, actionable ways to apply its wisdom in your own life. Think of this as your shortcut, sort of to being genuinely well-informed about this powerful and deeply human philosophy. Let's jump in.
Okay, so let's unpack this core idea then, because the authors present Ikigai not as like a single element you just stumble upon, right? But more as a dynamic sweet spot. It's where four absolutely crucial aspects of your life beautifully converge. It's this profound intersection. But I imagine for many people, figuring out what truly constitutes these four areas, let alone where they converge, that feels like a huge undertaking. How do the authors simplify this?
Well, what's fascinating here is they provide a really clear, almost visual framework. Imagine 4 overlapping circles. And right there in the middle where they all intersect, that is your Ikigai. So the first circle represents what you love. These are your passions, the activities that bring you genuine joy, make your heart sing, where you often just lose track of time. It's not just a passing interest, but something that truly resonates deep down.
So not just things you like, but things that genuinely ignite your spirit. I think many people might confuse the two. Does the book offer guidance on how to tell the difference between, say, a real passion and just a casual hobby?
Oh, absolutely. The authors emphasize that passion is often linked to this feeling of effortlessness and deep engagement, that feeling of being in your element, which contrasts with merely liking something, which, well, it might still feel like effort or maybe only provides superficial satisfaction. Then the second circle is what you are good at, your talents, your skills, the things people often come to you for help with maybe, or tasks you just seem to perform with relative ease and competence. It's about recognizing your strengths, your natural aptitudes.
Okay. So we've got passion and proficiency. That already makes a powerful combination, sure, but it's still very self-focused, isn't it? What brings the external world into the equation here?
That's where the third circle comes in. What the world needs. This is where your individual fulfillment starts to intersect with a broader purpose. How can you contribute? What impact can you make, even in small ways? And the authors highlight that this isn't necessarily about, grand world-changing gestures. It could be much simpler, like solving a community problem, maybe mentoring a colleague, or creating something that brings beauty or utility to others. It's about understanding your unique value to the larger ecosystem around you.
That feels like a critical distinction. It moves beyond just personal gain. It suggests true purpose is often found when your gift serves something bigger than just yourself. But then, okay, there's the practical reality of life, isn't there? We still need to live.
Indeed. And the fourth component, often the most challenging one for people to integrate, is what you can be paid for. This is your profession, your source of income, how you sustain yourself financially. The book really emphasizes that when all 4 of these are what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for when they truly come together. That intersection is where you discover your complete Ikigai. It means your work feels like play, it's something you excel at, it's meaningful to others, and it supports your life. It's not just about earning a living, it's about, living a living, if that makes sense.
It sounds ideal, absolutely. But for many, I suspect it feels quite aspirational. Does the book offer specific steps? Like, how do you bridge that gap if your current work doesn't quite align with all 4? Is it always about finding a new job, or can you maybe cultivate Ikigai within your existing framework?
That's a great question. The authors suggest it's often more of an iterative process, not a sudden switch. It might involve subtly shifting your current role, maybe to incorporate more of what you love or are good at, or perhaps volunteering outside of work to meet that what the world needs peace, or even developing a passion into a side hustle. It's about making conscious choices, rather than waiting for some perfect alignment to just magically appear. I'd actually encourage you, listening right now, to maybe pause for a moment and reflect. Where might these four already be merging, or where could you perhaps nudge them a little closer together in your own life?
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me, because the book takes us to a place that seems to powerfully embody this Ikigai philosophy in real life, Okinawa, Japan. What I find fascinating is how this concept isn't just theory there, but it's visibly lived out by an entire culture. Can you tell us more about what the authors observed in Okinawa? I mean, it's renowned for having some of the highest life expectancy rates in the world.
Absolutely. The authors spent time directly observing the Okinawan people, especially the elders, really trying to understand the secrets behind their remarkable longevity and happiness. And what they found wasn't a single magic bullet, but rather a deeply integrated lifestyle. One of the most striking things was this incredibly ingrained sense of strong community. They call it moai. These are basically close-knit social networks, often lifelong friendship groups. They meet regularly, share resources, provide emotional, social, even financial support. Imagine having a built-in support system from birth, practically, where your well-being is just intrinsically linked to others. That's a huge buffer against stress and loneliness.
Wow, moai. So it's not just about individual purpose then, but how that purpose thrives within a supportive collective. That feels like a crucial layer, particularly maybe in our increasingly isolated modern societies. What else contributes?
Well, another critical aspect is their consistent, healthy food habits. The Okinawan diet is typically rich in vegetables, legumes, fish, with very minimal processed foods. But beyond just what they eat, the authors found the Okinawan how of eating was crucial too. They practice something called harahachi-bu. It's this centuries-old Confucian adage to eat only until you're about 80% full. It's not just a rule, it's more like a mindful ritual. Often involves smaller plates, savoring each bite. It fundamentally changes their relationship with food and helps prevent overconsumption.
Eating only until you're 80% full. Wow. That speaks to a deeper connection with their bodies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A mindful approach many of us could probably learn from is a deliberate act of self-restraint, really.
Precisely. And hand in hand with that is daily physical activity and movement. Now, the Okinawans aren't typically, running marathons in their 90s. Instead, it's about consistent, gentle activity that's just integrated into daily life. Things like gardening, walking everywhere, doing household chores, maybe engaging in traditional dance or martial arts. It keeps their bodies flexible and strong without putting undue stress on them. Movement is just a natural, joyful part of existing, not some separate, dreaded chore you have to schedule.
Yeah, I can really see how these elements combine. And then sort of topping it all off, tying it all together, is this idea of purpose that brings us right back to Ikigai.
Yes, exactly. And perhaps most importantly, there's this clear and sustained sense of living with purpose, their individual and collective ikigai. The elders often still have roles within their community. They continue to pursue hobbies or tend to their gardens. It gives them a profound reason to get up every morning. They don't really see retirement as an end to contribution, but more like a shift in how they contribute. The implication here is that purpose isn't just some mental construct, but it's woven into the very fabric of how people live day to day. It shows how a life aligned with purpose isn't just an abstract idea, but it's a tangible, integrated part of a thriving culture.
That's powerful and really illustrates how these lifestyle choices aren't just isolated habits. They're all informed by and contribute to that central sense of purpose. It's not just about adding years to your life, is it? It's about adding life to your years. Now, the authors also delve into something else, something called flow, that almost magical state where you're so completely absorbed in an activity that time itself just seems to melt away. I think I know this feeling. I once spent an entire Saturday afternoon trying to perfect a sourdough recipe. Totally lost track of time. It wasn't work, it was pure absorption. Is that the kind of experience they're pointing to?
That's an excellent example. Exactly. It's those moments where you're completely present, right? No distractions, no internal chatter, just you and the task at hand. It's almost, well, meditative in a way. And what's fascinating here is how this state of flow is intrinsically linked to Ikigai. When you're in a flow state, you're not just highly productive, you're also significantly happier. You're experiencing this deep, intrinsic satisfaction. The activity itself becomes its own reward. It's not really about the outcome, but the sheer joy of the process.
So the real magic happens when these elements aren't just present, but they're actively interacting. And this state of flow is kind of a marker that you're probably aligned with your Ikigai.
Precisely. The authors explain that by aligning your daily activities with your Ikigai, those four intersecting elements we talked about, you naturally begin to experience more moments of this deep, joyful engagement. If your work, for instance, ticks the boxes of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for, well, you're far more likely to enter a flow state regularly within your professional life. It can transform potentially mundane tasks into opportunities for deep satisfaction and sustained happiness.
That truly connects the abstract idea of a purpose to the tangible day-to-day experience of joyful absorption. It sounds like a formula almost for consistent happiness and profound meaning, not just by finding your Ikigai, but then actively structuring your life to invite more of these flow experiences.
Yes, it connects that internal motivation with external expression. When your Ikigai guides your choices, the activities you engage in are inherently more rewarding, making that flow state a more frequent and accessible experience. It's about optimizing for engagement and joy, not just output.
So what does this all mean for you right now listening to this? The beauty of this deep dive, I think, is how incredibly practical the insights are. It moves beyond abstract philosophy to offer, well, a kind of guide for daily living.
Absolutely. The book really distills these profound observations into actionable lessons. It presents them as accessible steps for you to consider and maybe incorporate. One key lesson, coming directly from Okinawan life, is to find joy in small things. The authors observe practices like Ichigo-Ichi, it's a Japanese concept, reminding us to treasure every moment as if it were the last. It's not always about grand experiences, but consciously appreciating the beauty of everyday moments like a warm cup of tea, the changing light outside, a simple conversation. It's a powerful antidote, maybe, to our culture's constant push for bigger, better, more.
That feels profoundly important for cultivating contentment just in the present moment. What about our physical selves?
Right. Another lesson crucial for longevity is to keep moving and stay active every day. As we saw with the Okinawans, it's not usually about intense scheduled workouts for most people. It's more about consistent, gentle activity that's just integrated into your routine. Walk more, take the stairs, do some gardening maybe. It keeps your body and mind agile, viewing movement as a way of being, not a separate chore.
Yeah, and it links right back to that long, healthy life we talked about earlier. Not just adding years, but adding quality to those years.
Indeed. Then, crucial for emotional well-being, surround yourself with positive and supportive people. The importance of community, of that moai, really cannot be overstated. Nurture relationships that uplift you, challenge you constructively, and provide that sense of belonging. The authors really emphasize intentionally cultivating a supportive social circle. It's a simple truth, but one we often neglect in our busy lives.
That sounds like such a fundamental human need, really, and Ikigai just elevates it to a core practice.
Exactly. And another vital point, focus on healthy eating and stress-free living. This involves mindful eating, like we mentioned with Harahachibu, and actively managing stress, maybe through practices like meditation, spending time in nature, or engaging in hobbies that relax you. Prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish. It's actually foundational to living a purposeful life. It enables you to bring your best self to your Ikigai.
These aren't just isolated tips, though, are they? They feel all interconnected, creating a kind of holistic approach to living well, much like that integrated Okinawan lifestyle you described.
Precisely. And the most important, perhaps the overarching lesson from the book, is to find your Ikigai and align your daily routine with it. This means actively seeking out what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and yes, what you can be paid for. Once you identify that intersection, or even just parts of it, make conscious choices to integrate it into your everyday life. It might be through your career, sure, but it could also be a volunteer role or a deeply satisfying hobby that you commit to with real intention.
So it's not about passively waiting for your purpose to magically appear, is it? It's about actively seeking it out and then making intentional choices to build your life around it. And the book suggests these aren't necessarily grand, overwhelming changes, but often small, consistent choices.
That's exactly it. It's about intentional living, day by day. These choices, they accumulate. They build up into a life of greater meaning, balance, and ultimately profound happiness without requiring you to upend your entire existence overnight.
Wow, what a deep dive this has been. We've journeyed from the conceptual definition of Ikigai through the vibrant living example of Okinawa into that joyous absorption of flow and landed squarely on practical, actionable steps for your own life.
To recap, really, Ikigai is far more than just a Japanese cultural idea. It feels like a universal framework for cultivating a meaningful and fulfilling life. The book, Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life, truly is, I think, a simple, practical, and deeply inspiring guide.
It really is. We hope this exploration encourages you, maybe just take a moment, reflect on these principles. Perhaps intentionally slow down a bit, look inward, and ultimately live with more balance, more happiness, and a more profound sense of meaning. It's about making every day count, not just letting the days count.
And remembering it's a constant journey, right? Not a destination you just arrive at.
Absolutely. A really good point. And as you go about your week, we want to leave you with this thought-provoking question to maybe ponder. If your Ikigai is truly about the joy of always being busy with purpose, what's one purposeful busyness? One activity that lights you up, uses your skills, offers value, and perhaps even sustains you in some way that you could either introduce or maybe reprioritize in your life this week? What's just one step you could take toward more flow and more joy? Think about it. And we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.